Good morning, CHC. This is Uncle Jay. Woot woot. And I'm going to be hanging out with you to do devotions this week. I hope you're excited. Monday we're going to do a devotion. Tuesday we're going to do a devotion. Wednesday we're going to do a devotion. And God willing, we're going to do a Kahoot to round off the week at the end. So without further ado, our subject for this week in devotions is Matthew chapter 7, verses 1 through 6. Today, we're going to talk about judging. Judge not, that ye be not judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye mete, it shall be measured to you again. Well, there it is. Matthew 7, verse 1. Jesus said, don't judge. I guess we can all go back to class. That's our devotion. Hey, don't judge me. Are you judging me? It's not that easy, though, because Jesus said in another place, judge righteous judgment. So Jesus is saying to judge and not to judge? I know it might sound really confusing, but it's actually not when we have a look at the scriptures that are involved. The answer is that we need to understand the context. In other words, Jesus is speaking about certain kinds of judging that we must do, and we must do that correctly or righteously, as God would have us judge. And on the other hand, there's judging that we ought never to do. That's what Jesus meant when he said, don't judge. And the special kind of judging that he's talking about here in Matthew chapter 7 is judging hypocritically. But more on that Wednesday. But what about Jesus himself? Well, it says that his Father shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord, and he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears, but with righteousness shall he judge the poor. To judge or not to judge? So if you read carefully in this verse, there are two kinds of judging. One way that the Lord Jesus is not going to judge, and he didn't judge when he was here, and another way that he will judge. It says that he wouldn't judge after the sight of his eyes, and he wouldn't reprove after the hearing of his ears. So he just wouldn't take what he sees just for looking at something and then make a decision on it. He wouldn't just go by what somebody says and listen to it that way. He would make sure that he could judge righteously, because sometimes we can hear incorrectly and sometimes we can see incorrectly. But to judge righteously, to do the right thing, you have to spend a little bit of time to make sure that whatever situation or decision that you have before you is going to be made in the right way. And that's what Jesus, that's the way that he made his decisions when he was led by the Spirit of God when he was on the earth. And this is such an important verse to talk about when we think about what judging means, because Jesus says in John chapter 7 at verse 24, judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. So there's a good judging here, and there's a not so good judging here that Jesus is talking about. Not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Make the right decisions about your thinking, Jesus says. And so Jesus says the same thing to the Jews in John chapter 7. He says, judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. And the Jews were so mad at Jesus because they were judging according to the appearance. They said to Jesus, you cannot be who you say you are because you're healing people on the Sabbath, and you can't do any work on the Sabbath. But if they were judging righteously, they would understand, number one, that Jesus wasn't actually breaking any Sabbath laws, and number two, he was doing the work of God. And that's the kind of work that God wanted to have done every day. And that's why Jesus himself did that. So there's a judge not that he was saying to the Jews, don't judge according to the appearance, what you think is right just from looking at it, but think more deeply about these things. That's the lesson here. So let's take a lesson from a couple of apostles, shall we? Peter and John answers those who were questioning them. And they said, don't you speak anymore in the name of the Lord Jesus. And they respond, they say, whether it be right in the sight of God to hearken unto you more than unto God, judge ye. So, you decide, you judge, is it better to listen to God or to listen to you? And that's a very important question, and they needed to think a whole lot about that. What decision were they going to make? So, presented with the option of listening to what the world is telling us to do and listening to what God is telling us to do, we have to make sure that we judge, and that we judge righteously. And what that means is that we need to make the right decision. Pressure from the world, the counsel of God, we know we have to listen to God rather than listen to the world. Judge not, and ye shall not be judged. Condemn not, and ye shall not be condemned. Forgive, and ye shall be forgiven. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down and shaken together and running over, shall men give into your bosom. For with what measure ye meet withal, it shall be measured to you again. So how can we summarize all this? Well, it's all about judging, and that's all about making decisions. We want to be judging righteously, as Jesus said. And what that means is to make the right decisions. It's to show mercy, like he taught in the Sermon on the Mount. It is to forgive, and it's to be generous. That's the kind of spirit that has to do with judging righteously. But when Jesus was saying, judge not that ye be not judged, he's talking about judging unrighteously. He's talking about the negative way that people were practicing judging back in his day, and it also happens today too. We can do it ourselves. So he warns us against making selfish decisions. He warns us against being cruel. He warns us against being unforgiving, and he warns us about not sharing when those who are in need will come and ask us. Those are the lessons that have to do with judging. Are we supposed to judge? Only when we're doing it in the way that God has shown us. That's the only time we're to decide as he's commanded. So if we're at CHC and we might not be getting along with somebody in class or on the playground, or maybe if we're home spending more time than we usually do with our siblings, and we're not getting along very well, and somebody might hit us or push us or take something from us, we have to remember that we can't choose who we're going to forgive. We can't choose who we're going to show kindness to. We have to make sure that we're being generous and kind and forgiving to everyone. And that's a real challenge sometimes. It can get difficult when we're older too, because sometimes someone might say something to us that hurts our feelings, or says something to somebody in our family that hurts our feelings. Those feelings inside of us bottled up. But what does Jesus say? He says to forgive. He says to not judge people or condemn them when these issues come up in our lives. It doesn't mean that we say that what they did was correct, and we might need to have a conversation with them about that. But we still have to forgive, and we still have to show kindness and generosity. And now for your viewing pleasure, I thought that I would give a little demonstration about what these principles might look like in action using my favorite box of oatmeal crisp. Oh, I've got my delicious box of oatmeal crisp. Oatmeal crisp with almond. With none of those raisins. This is my favorite cereal. I need a lot of milk for it because I poured a giant bowl because I love it so much. This is so crispy, it's unbelievable. How is it possible that they make a cereal this delicious? It's so good, I can't believe it. You know, there's only one person who I know likes this cereal as much as I do. And that's Uncle Josh. Wait a minute. I think I overhear a conversation right now. It sounds like Uncle Josh forgot to pack his lunch. Oh, too bad he doesn't have a nice bowl of oatmeal crisp like I do. I would offer him some, but he kicked the ball away from me at recess the other day. Why would I offer him a bowl? Well, this is such a good cereal, and I want to have another bowl later on, but I do have enough. But I love it so much, and he was so mean kicking the ball away, but I know what I should do. Oh, okay. Hey, Uncle Josh. I hear you weren't able to bring a lunch today. I know how much you like oatmeal crisp, almost as much as I do, and so there's a box down here if you want to have. You can have as much as you like, and yeah, you got it. That's no problem. You're welcome. Thank you very much, CHC, for having me into your homes to share some of the teaching of the Lord Jesus Christ from the Sermon on the Mount with you. I hope you enjoyed today and that you'll join us again for the rest of the devotions this week. And don't forget the Kahoot that's going to be coming up on Thursday. Thank you. Where's the off button on this?